My name is Sébastien. I am a PM on the Copilot Extensibility team, and we've been building declarative agents for the last couple of weeks. We've built one, we've extended one, we've added plugins, APIs, MCPs, conversation starters, agents. We've done a lot of things in the last 6 weeks. And if you want to check on that, you can look at the recordings of the previous 6 weeks. Actually, we're on week 7. But today, what I want to cover is something that is super important. Is sometimes things don't go according to plan. Maybe you want to go deeper. You want to test and debug some of the things that you have built, but they're not triggering. Your APIs or MCP server is not triggering at the right time, or it's never triggering, or you're having issues with auth, or your instructions are not leading Copilot to do the right thing. So I want to talk today about how you can test and debug to really cover the full inner dev loop for any dev that wants to build on top of the M365 Copilot platform. So let me go here. Let me start this every single time. And now let me go here. So today we're going to debug. And we're going to kind of start with how to debug, what are the options you have, what are the environments, sharing, tracing, so on and so forth. That's really going to be like the kind of the end-to-end debugging best practices. There's going to be a lot less code today because we're not going to actually touch any code, because everything we're going to do, we're going to focus on how do we debug what we have coded. The first thing I'm going to invite you to do is to get a dev tenant. That's going to help you for so many other scenarios, but I think it's going to be important for you to get a dev tenant. So you can join the M365 dev program, from which you're going to get an E5 subscription. So with this, you're going to be able to do a lot of Marks or Copilot related dev. If you're grounding content on SharePoint, on Teams, on Outlook, on meetings, and so on and so forth, you won't be able to take full advantage of what's available in the sandbox, because you won't get a Copilot license with the sandbox. You're going to only get an E5 license. That being said, you can do stuff with it. If you want to do plugins, you want to do MCP, you want to do instruction-based, you want to do embedding, you want to do like a couple of things, you're going to be able to do that. If you want, you can though now add a Copilot license to that tenant. So we offer you 25 E5 licenses, and you could just add 1 or 2 licenses for Copilot to be able to kind of set or test all of the scenarios from there. You will want to enable custom app upload and side loading, so you can actually do some dev. But I really invite you to go and do that. And that's going to help you because you're going to have access to a lot more insights than into your production tenant, because your production tenant might not give you all the keys to the kingdom of being an admin over there. Then afterwards, once you have the right access to be able to debug, you will want to enable the developer mode. And dev mode comes baked into Copilot Chat. So it's super simple. You just type -developer on into Copilot. And then from this point on, you're going to get what we call the debug card with every single response coming from Copilot Chat. So you're going to be able to see all the agent metadata. What's the agent ID that is running right now? What's its version? What is the conversation ID? What is the request ID? You're going to be able to see what are all the configured capabilities, but also what are the executed capabilities based on the intent. So you're going to be able to say, oh, I said something that should have triggered the Teams messages capability, but it did not. So now you know that you need to maybe steer a little bit more your agent, or you need to provide more clarity to the end users. You're going to also be able to see what are the functions, so which one are configured and which one were matched and selected and then executed with the actual request payload and with the full response payload also coming back from your APIs. So let's go and let's do that very quick demo. So you're in Copilot Chat. We still have our HR onboarding buddy here. And what I'll do, the first thing I'll do is developer on. And this is like something that is like, it's not like, it's really dev centric. It doesn't go and do like some sort of analysis. No, it just says successfully enabled developer mode. So now what I can say, I can just go back here and say, what's my first week checklist? And then it's going to go on. It's going to do its thing. Like it used to, right? Nothing new here. It's going to go. It's going to start checking around, understanding what are the contexts, what are the files, and so on and so forth. And then it finds the employee handbook. And then these are all demos you've seen in the last 6 weeks. So let me go at the end of this request. So now this is happening. And now, a couple seconds after the initial debugging there, oh, look at that. You now have that card right here. That card has that agent debug info. You can actually download the full information here. That is great information to give to a coding agent. So that way, if you're stuck or whatsoever, you can actually use that. And if not, you can just go straight to our documentation. And it's going to give you all documentation about how to use debug card. But now, let me go here. Now you're going to find, hey, look at this. I have email enabled, people, OneDrive and SharePoint with this URL, Teams messages with this URL, web search with this URL, code interpreter, graphic art. So now you know what is enabled on this specific agent. Anybody can do that. It's not because you're not a dev that you cannot do that. You can do that on any agent, and automatically you actually put Copilot Chat in dev mode, so all Copilot will actually return that. And then afterwards, you're going to find here all of the different actions here. It didn't find any function to it found it, but didn't think it was relevant to select any of that and then execute it. Then afterwards, you're going to find, oh, it did call email, and it used this query, the first week checklist. And then did the same thing on Teams message, and it did the same thing for first week checklist onboarding into OneDrive and SharePoint. And then that's it. That's what this call triggered. So to understand what happened and how it happened, it is probably the thing you're going to use the most as part of your debugging journey automatically there. So let me go back to slides a little bit. A little bit of a tip here. One thing you will want to do is when you get into the mode that things are not working, or it feels like you have stale instructions, or your agent is not reloading the right way or whatsoever, what I invite you is to bump the version number of your app or of your agent. And the reason why is that's going to force a full refresh. It's going to clear some of the cache in our backends, and it's going to automatically make sure that, because you're provisioning and sideloading like all the time, it's going to really help with this. So I invite you to use semantic versioning for that, but that's going to really help to make sure that you always have the latest and greatest of the configured capabilities and instructions inside there. And you're going to always want to be able to see, so at the top here, you're going to want to see like what's the agent ID, the agent version, the conversation ID, and the request ID. So here you see I'm on 1.0.0. Well, if that's not what your code says, then you know that there's a little bit of a mismatch here. Then once you're ready, you think you're comfortable, you're happy with what you have, there are ways to actually share your agent with colleagues. So you can, the same way you would do that with Agent Builder, you can do that with Declarative Agent directly from Visual Studio. So what you can do here is you can just say, you know what, I can provision, I can share, and I can publish. I do think that provision is for yourself. Think about provisioning as a way to sideload, as a way to make it available just for you in a secured way that only you has access to this agent. But then you can expand the scope of this agent by doing ATK share. you can share the agent with more people, that you can have a bunch of different colleagues or group-enabled email addresses, and then all these people will now have access to this agent. That is really, really cool. And once you're ready, you can do the ATK publish. That's going to share it to your entire tenant with admin approval. So you might not be ready just yet to publish, but you want to be able to gather feedback from people, then the ATK share is a great way to do it, especially for auth. It's going to remove the now very infamous say around "it works on my machine." Then I invite you to also do multiple environments. I told you initially to go and get a dev tenant, but how do you handle multiple versions of the same agent on multiple environments? Well, that's where you will want to have different environment variables or environment files inside your project. One's for your local development for yourself, one for the dev team, like as a dev environment file, one for the staging, and one for prod. What's interesting here is that each of these environments will have its own app ID, tenant ID, SharePoint URLs, Teams app version, a title ID, all of those. So it means that you can really focus on what you're doing right now without impacting everybody else that is using an agent that will be in production, for example. So environment files really give you that, once you're testing and debugging, that peace of mind that you're not currently breaking other people that are in another environment. And that's how you basically say it, right? Here you're going to provision to dev, then you can provision to staging. It's going to require to have multiple logins, so you're going to have to connect with different identities potentially. Your user in dev, and then your user in your production tenant or in your staging environment, and so on and so forth. And you'll be able to add these environments using that ATK and env command. Couple tips and tricks on kind of troubleshooting here. Developer card will help you with, is your capabilities executing? If your plugin never gets invoked, I invite you to check for the description for model property into your plugin. The description for model is basically the instructions you're giving to the model to say, hey, that's when you need to choose my plugin. So if it's never invoked, go check if the description for model means something. Sometimes it's just like, this is this API, but give it more context. Give them like real good examples of things that users will do with it to augment the chances of semantic matching. Check your agent versions, check your execution details, check with a lot of people. Something also, if you get to the point where things are not working like they should, keep in mind that we are heavily looking at thumbs up and thumbs down that people are marking into their agent. So if you want to do a thumbs up or a thumbs down to a response, like here, for example, right here, and you add the hashtag extensibility, our team will be looking at maybe there's something broken in the system, and that helps us understand that there are things happening. So it is a great signal back to us to make sure that we keep the entire Copilot Chat healthy. So now you can build and debug with confidence. You have more tools, you have more ways of reporting and debugging and testing, from creating yourself a new environment to really handle all these environment variables and go through the dev card. That's going to be really, really helpful for you. So next, we're going to talk about publishing and lifecycle management. We're going to talk a little bit about CI and CD on how you can automate all of that. And until the next time, go try it now. All the code is available on this GitHub right now. It's live. All the slides, all the demos are there. Go and enjoy.